What's going on, everybody? It's Stas here. So the stock market was interesting today. S&P 500 down 22 points, down 0.6%. The Dow Jones down 160 points, down 0.5%. And the NASDAQ 100 ended up breaking even, down about 5 points on the day. And in this video, we're going to be talking more about the stock market, breaking down some technicals, and more importantly, like you guys saw in the title, we're going to be talking about Apple stock, Workhorse stock, and why both of these stocks ended up going down today, and whether or not I think it's time to buy the dip on Apple and Workhorse. And we're also going to talk about what I personally did, and let me tell you guys, I did take some profits today and a bunch of other stocks that I'm looking to buy right now. So jam-packed video. If you guys find value, hit that like button for me, subscribe to the channel, that's much appreciated. And if you guys want to join the Strive Smart community, check out the Discord chat, the Facebook group, and if you guys want 2 free stocks, those are valued up to $1,600. Deposit $100 to get those 2 free stocks, and all of those are linked right down below in the description box. So let's get into it, guys. And if you guys watched my video yesterday and on Sunday, we talked about how the markets were overheated, right? We've seen a substantial amount of green days here ever since the end of September. I mean, we have seen some sell-offs as well, but majority of the days were green, right? We went from 32.10 on the S&P, and yesterday we hit a high of 35.50, which was roughly about 30-40 points away from the all-time high. So we were just getting extremely overbought. And I was telling you guys how the markets might pull down, and we're seeing that now. This could be the start of that pull down, right? We're seeing the S&P is going down. It's still held 3,500 and it's still holding the uptrend, guys. So bears out there watching the video, don't get too excited yet, but we are pulling down. I mean, take a look. I think a target price on the S&P here, especially if the futures market is looking red tomorrow, large caps are looking red, insinuating, hey, we might have another red day tomorrow. You know, a level that I'm looking at might be around 34.30 to about 34.50. You know, this general area could serve as support here on the 30-day chart. You guys can see that would be right around the 50 simple moving average. And if we zoom in a bit here on the hourly chart, you guys can see it even better, right? If we pull down again, we might hit that 50 SMA on this hourly chart, right around that 34.30 to about 34.50 level. So quite honestly, I don't know if we're bottoming here. I don't know if there's more selling. Nobody knows. But what we're going to be watching out for is, again, the futures market in the morning, what that's looking like, and what are the large caps looking like? Are they selling off aggressively? Are they gapping up? Because if we're gapping up, hey, this could just be a blip in the road. S&P could actually hit all-time highs for all we know. But if they're coming down, you know, let's say Apple, Amazon, Google, all these big stocks are red pre-market, we might see a pull down to that level right around 34.50. So S&P is selling off. This is good, guys. A lot of people out there freak out when the markets are selling off, but the truth is, it's a cycle, right? The market moves in cycles, and there's obviously broad cycles, and there's cycles within the cycle, right? There's weekly cycles, monthly cycles, and within those cycles, we see green days, we see red days, ups, downs, and, you know, we're in a little red phase right now, and I'm not freaking out, as I understand, and you'll understand this as you get deeper into the markets, for the beginners out there at least, you know, you'll understand it's all part of the game. So S&P, watch that level there. Dow Jones ended up, let's take a look here, guys. Let me extend this to the right. Dow Jones ended up yesterday breaking 28,700. That was a big resistance. Now we pulled down just like the S&P today. And if we zoom in a bit on the 30-day chart, you could argue that, hey, Dow Jones might be able to pull down if we see more red, that is, maybe down to about 28,400. That would put it right around this 50 simple moving average here on the 30-day chart. And if we pull up the hourly chart, it would be right around the same spot, 50 SMA at about 28,400. So again, keep an eye on the large caps, the futures. If we're gapping down, Dow Jones might be going back down to the lower $28,000 level as a part of this little selling cycle that we're in. So that's what I'm looking at there. And let's say, we break out of 28,700, we end up gapping up. A higher end target here I have on the Dow Jones is going to be right around the high from earlier in September, the beginning of September, right around 29,200. So that could be where we do end up rallying. That's if we gap up tomorrow and the rest of the week. And again, we'll see how that ends up going down. And when it comes down to the NASDAQ 100, again, it didn't do much. I mean, pretty much broke even, down about 5 points. You can see we failed breaking out of yesterday's high. Excuse me, guys, voice crack there. Yesterday's highs at about 12,200. You can see we're kind of in this little downwards channel based on today's performance and yesterday's performance at the end. So look at what I just drew here on the 5-day, 5-minute. That is what I would look at for tomorrow for direction purposes, right? Because if we break it to the downside, followed by even more selling in tech, that could be a sell signal if you're holding maybe, let's say, any NASDAQ plays, such as QQQ or maybe TQQQ. If that were to break, that would not be too good. But let's say we broke on the upside, you guessed it, that would be very, very bullish. And oh my goodness, guys, my throat is extremely dry right now. But either way, NASDAQ, watch that for tomorrow on the upside and on the downside. But I'd argue that, hey, we might need a bit of selling here to just bring that RSI down a bit, because despite today's little sell-off, if you guys want to call it that, we're still pretty overbought. RSI is over 70. It's at about 74 at this point. And I'd like to see NASDAQ 100 at about 11,700, 11,800. That would be a healthier spot in my opinion. So let me know down below in the comments, what are your thoughts on the market? What are your thoughts on those brief technicals that we just ran through? Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Are you long? Are you short the market? Drop a comment. Let me know down below. Now let's get into the juice of this video. Let's talk about my trades, which kind of correlates with Apple and Workhorse, since I own both of these and they both got crushed today and I plan on buying more. So let's talk about it, starting off here with Apple stock, and we'll talk about the event too and go over what ended up coming out from it. So let's go to Apple, AAPL. And what happened today, guys? We kind of called this out yesterday. If you guys watched my video, we talked about how Apple might sell the news. And by that I mean there's a common phrase out there in the stock market that deals with pretty much, it can apply to any stock, right? It's called buy the rumor, sell the news. So in an event like this, a lot of people were buying up the rumors of, oh, it's going to be this, it's going to be that, a lot of hype around it. And when the event actually occurred, they sold the news, right? They sold what they saw in the event, and the stock ended up selling. You see this a lot. You see it with Tesla. You see it with even AMD, you see it with a bunch of stocks. It applies to a bunch of stocks out there. So people bought up the rumor, sold the news, and I told you guys, if we get even higher in Apple, and even yesterday it was overextended, but if we were able to get higher from where we were yesterday, that's going to be even more overextended. So Apple hit, I think, like 125.26 yesterday, and pre-market today, if you were watching it, it was almost in the mid 127s, and that was pretty overbought. I mean, take a look here on the 4-hour. The RSI was almost off the page. It was pretty much at 85. That is unbelievable. So at this point, I'm looking at Apple from a technical perspective as it's getting close to a buy, in my opinion, if you're looking to short-term trade it, if you're a trader based on technicals, right? And that's my opinion. Always do your own due diligence, guys, but I'm looking at it anywhere from 118 to 119 as pretty attractive. And me personally, yesterday, I locked in some profits at 122.60, locked in about half the position, and my average cost is around 115, and I told myself, and I told you guys, that I wanted to lock in profits to keep it safe, but I also also wanted to let half of my position ride, just to have some exposure. And that's exactly excuse me, guys, what I ended up doing here, and I plan to continue to do that. So what ended up happening today? Oh my goodness, guys, I apologize. This is getting insane. Let me take a sip of water. Hold up. So we had the event today. And we got some pretty interesting announcements. One, the first thing they talked about was the HomePod, or rather the HomePod Mini smart speaker, which is pretty much connecting your house as a smart home. And the one interesting thing we saw there was the intercom feature, where you can pretty much have this smart home and you could have multiple in different rooms. And let's say you're in one room and you want to intercom to your wife or your kid, whatever. You can be like, all right, we're doing this. And then it goes to their smart pod, right? Or home pod. You guys get the point. And you can also control the lights, the garage, I think, a bunch of other stuff, right? So they're looking to do that HomePod Mini. But what people were waiting for was the iPhones, how many iPhones were coming out, the price points, and so forth. So we got 4 new iPhones coming out. Excuse me, guys. The iPhone 12, the iPhone 12 Mini, the iPhone 12 Pro, and the iPhone 12 Pro Max. All of these are at different price points. So let's start off with the Mini, guys. The Mini here is coming in at $699, and you'll be able to pre-order this on November 6th, with the availability being a week later on November 13th. And they actually announced this, which is a smaller iPhone device. And me personally, guys, I probably wouldn't go for it because I like the bigger screens, but hey, to each their own. But they announced this device. It's 5.4-inch screen. It's called the iPhone 12 Mini, and it's the first time that Apple has ever released a new iPhone with a smaller screen than the previous year models. Apple says it is smaller and lighter, but still has the same features as the larger iPhone 12, and it has all the 5G capabilities, right? And did I spoil the surprise? Yes, they all have 5G capabilities, guys, as many of you all probably knew heading into the event, right? So they have the iPhone 12 Mini, $699. You also have the iPhone 12, the regular one, which I believe is $799. I'm pretty sure it's $799. I forgot to put it here in my notes, but that's coming out. You can pre-order it on the 16th of October, and you could actually have it available a week later on the 23rd of October. And you also have the iPhone 12 Pro, which comes in at $999, doubling, and it's doubled the starting capacity from 64 gigs to 128 gigs. And this you can actually pre-order on the 16th of October, and it's available on the 23rd. And you also have the iPhone 12 Pro Max, which comes in at almost $1,100, $1,099 to be exact, and you can pre-order that on the 6th of November. It's available on the 13th of November, and all of these, like I said, it's not really a surprise. They all have 5G, and they're rolling out 5G, Apple that is, to more than 100 carriers around the world. So a lot of interesting things here going into Apple, from the HomePod to all of these new iPhones, which I think they're slick. I like the look of them. And me personally, guys, I have this cracked, beaten up, crappy iPhone 8 Plus. I think I've had it for like 2-3 years at this point, and it's cracked. It's a piece of crap too. So I'm looking to get this phone, and the 5G capabilities, I'm excited about that. And not only that, they have this thing called MagSafe, which allows you to actually charge your phone on this base, which you could charge it before, but now you could actually, magnet. It's a magnet capability, so it sticks to it. You can also put specific cases, so this is opening up a new case market. So Apple's looking to make more money there, and of course, third-party companies can do and make cases themselves, so they're doing that. And you can also stick a wallet card holder, which I probably wouldn't do, to be honest. I'd rather just have my wallet. But hey, that's a feature for you if you guys want to do it. And yeah, that's pretty cool. And again, it opens up a new market for different types of cases out there. And another thing that I thought was pretty cool and interesting about the packaging about this new iPhone, and they're actually not looking to have headphones or a charger, a block in the box. This actually reduces carbon emissions and avoids the mining and use of precious materials. And Apple said by 2030, so a decade away, they actually expect to have a net zero climate impact across the entire business, including manufacturing and all product life cycles. So they're looking to go pretty green here. I'm liking that. It's good for the environment, but I was seeing that people are arguing that, is Apple really doing this for the environment, or are they doing it to make more profits? That's arguable. I'm not going to get into that in this video. And why would they make more profits? Well, because without the iPhone charger, the block in there, and without the headphones, the box that they ship gets a lot lighter, so they can ship for cheaper. And yeah, you could argue, are they doing it for profit, or are they doing it for the environment? And again, that's not up to me to answer that, but you guys can drop a comment, let me know your thoughts, and hey, I'll chat with you down below in the comments. And get this, over 2 billion Apple Power adapters are out there in the world, those blocks that we're talking about, and that's not including third-party adapters. And also, there's 700 million lighting headphones out there, and as we're moving more to Bluetooth, wireless, and so forth, I guess it kind of makes sense that they don't want to include this anymore. So let me know your thoughts down below, guys, and there's a lot more. You know, the iPhone Pro Max, it's the biggest screen out there. The camera is the best it's been. So if you're a photographer, you make movies, videos, whatever, that could be awesome for you. If you're a regular Joe, you don't care about that, the iPhone 12 could be for you. Or let's say you're on a budget, hey, you can get the mini. So I like how there's a lot of different options here. And again, I'd love to know your thoughts down below, and we could talk more about it, but that's really the highlights, in my opinion, from this presentation. So let me know your thoughts down below, and now let's get into Workhorse and talk about what the heck went on there today. Workhorse ended up getting slammed, guys, down about 11%. And you can see here earlier in the day, it was actually under about $22 per share. I mean, it didn't go under 22, but it was around $22.50 to about $22.60. And you guys can see a double bottom there. So this is a good sign for the bulls on the intraday chart. It did double bottom and broke out heading into the close. Now it's going up into the aftermarket hours, so that's good. But overall, I mean, the shorts have won the past couple of days, really the past 2 days. I mean, we hit $30 yesterday, and it tanked from there to about 30 to 26. It went to about 27 pre-market today, but once that USPS news came out, the Roth downgrade came out. It went from about 27 to about 22. So this stock's getting decimated, no doubt about it. And if we pull up the 4-hour chart, I mean, you can see we're pretty much range bound at this point. Take a look. Workhorse resistance at $28.30 to about $30. That seems to be a sell area with support around $20 to $22. So I would not be surprised if we did rally back up to the high 28s, or $20 rather, the high $20 range, maybe even the low 30 range. I don't know if it's going to happen later this week, tomorrow. It might take a while. We might stay range bound for a while, but what I'm saying is if we hold $20, we have a good shot at going back up, especially as the USPS contract, I mean, it's not a wash for Workhorse. It just got pushed back. Take a look here. Let me pull up Safari. Take a look here. So Roth Capital analyst Craig Irwin downgraded Workhorse Group from buy to neutral with a price target to $27 from $33. And this is because the analyst comments, we received an email, and read along with me here, guys. We received an email communication from USPS after heavy press coverage of our call indicating confidence in Workhorse's bid for the $8.1 billion and 165,000 unit NGDV contract, next generation delivery vehicle contract. We noted that the decision Or rather, we noted then the decision day was slated for today, October 13th. A USPS PR spokesman indicated it now expects the decision by the end of 2020. Oh, come on, guys. This has happened before. They keep pushing it back and back and back. We always viewed political optics of an award before an election as essential, and now see increased risk for an award. So that spooked out investors, the increased risk for an award part, and the USPS pushing that back, the winner of that, till the end of the year. So Workhorse ended up getting crushed. I mean, it makes sense. But again, we're getting close to that level, that general area where there's buyers. So watch out, the low 20s. And are both of these stocks dip buys, Workhorse and Apple? I think... Well, let me tell you this. I think they both are. And again, don't just buy anything because of my opinion, but I really like Workhorse here, but there's a lot of risk with Workhorse, a ton of risk with Workhorse, but I also like Apple where it is, but there's not as much risk there. You guys get it, right? Apple's a bit less risky, it's more stable, but Workhorse is a lot more volatile all over the place, and it's a bit more risky, right? So at this point, I would love to see, like I said, Apple at 118, 119. That is where I think it'd be a dip buy. And Workhorse is pretty much at the dip level. You know, anywhere from $20, $21, $23. That is where I like it. So, and another thing worth noting here on the 4-hour chart, we're holding the 180 SMA as a support, which we held in the past couple of months. So these could both be dip buys at this point in time. And when it comes down to some other trades I'm in Intel still at about $52.25. I'm in there with a decent position, nothing too crazy, holding on to that one. But I ended up locking in today on EA, and I didn't write out where I ended up selling out here in my notes, but from my memory, it was at about $132 and I think 30 cents, and I was in at about 131.20, so I ended up locking in a decent profit there. And you might be asking yourself, Stas, why'd you do that? Didn't you say you want to hold on to EA? And the truth is, I do want to hold on to it, but I want to raise some cash right now, really, as the markets are a bit overextended. So I'm looking at my positions and I'm like, okay, let me trim a bit of EA. I sold out completely, and I sold out of this other stock, and I'm going to wait and see if EA is able to confirm the break above 134, because last time we tested this level, 133, 134, we failed miserably and it tanked, right? So for me, now that I'm in the green, I want to just lock in that profit, play it safe, and now I'm going to wait. If it breaks above mid-130s, I'll have the cash ready to go, and I'll be able to get in on the momentum. So I sold out of there for a little profit, and I also sold out a bit of SPCE, sold out of the whole position. Virgin Galactic, I was in this one at 21.30, got out earlier today. I pretty much timed the top, believe it or not. Earlier today at 21.80, I got out at about 21.77, exactly at 21.77 actually, and it sold off after that, and it ended up rallying into the close. But similar to EA, I just wanted to lock in some profits, play it safe, and just go more cash and kind of just see what the rest of the week has to offer. So overall, guys, that's what I'm doing. I'm still in Intel, Workhorse, and Apple, but I ended up locking in on EA and SPCE, but I'm looking to enter both of those again, just playing it safe here, and I wanted to just take off risk off the table, right? So yeah, what are your thoughts on that? What are your thoughts on Apple and Workhorse? Let me know down below in the comments. Now let's run through quickly some other stocks that I'm looking at, starting off with a couple that reported earnings. J&J ended up reporting today, guys. Stock ended up going down about 2.3%. After hours here, it seems like it's holding about $148, so that's a big technical support on the stock. And it's interesting, they ended up beating earnings. EPS came in at 2.2 versus 1.98, so they beat there. And revenue came in at $21.8 billion versus $20.2 billion estimated. So double beat. And I was about to say Workhorse. J&J went down on the double beat, so we'll see. I think this could be a potential entry point. I mean, you guys can see typically 148 has acted as support recently. And yeah, if we hold that, end up gapping up, let's say tomorrow, that could be a sign to get in. JP Morgan, they crushed earnings as well. EPS came in at 292 versus 223. Revenue came in at 29.1 billion versus 28.29 billion. So double beat there. And you guys can see, what do you know? We called this out. Big resistance here on JP Morgan. It got rejected at 105. It's been struggling there for months. It only broke out literally one time, guys. Back in June, it went from 105 to 115. But other than that, it's been getting crushed, and that's bank stocks in general for you guys. They really haven't recovered. They're still struggling. So for me, the way I'm looking at JP Morgan here is actually, I'd like to see it in the lower hundreds, or honestly, it's already in the low hundreds. I'd say high 90s. If we're able to get down to $99, maybe $98.50, right around this 180 SMA here on the 4-hour chart, that could be an awesome entry point dip buy on JP Morgan for a rally back up to 105. So I'm thinking 98, $99 up to 105. That's what I'm looking at here on JP Morgan. And Delta Airlines, DAL, ended up reporting earnings today as well. This is not a company that I'm looking to buy, and I'm not looking to trade it either, quite honestly, but I'm just going to report it here for you guys, talk about what happened. EPS came in at negative 3.3 versus negative 3, so they lost in terms of EPS, and revenue also missed 3.06 billion versus 3.11 billion. So not a great day for Delta Airlines, but somehow the stock's still holding up, down almost 3%, but it's not really a collapse day like many people might have expected. And another thing is, hey, these airlines might get some stimulus, so that could actually help them in the it will help them in the short term, and it might fluctuate the stock's price in the short term. So this is an interesting one. I mean, it could really go either way, but with stimulus coming, I think it might end up going up. I mean, it might end up going mid-30s. You know, that could be a price we could hit on Delta, and I'm going to be watching that. So overall, those are 3 stocks that reported earnings. We have a bunch more coming up later this week and later this month, and 3 more now we're going to talk about, starting with Disney, guys. Ended up going up 3%, up $4. They really confirmed now they're going to go heavier into streaming. They're going to double down into streaming. Did they officially cut the dividend? But some big shareholder last week came out saying they should just go away with the dividend, forget the dividend, double down into streaming, and it looks like they're taking that advice. So I'm happy about that. I don't care about the dividend anyway as a shareholder. I mean, if I'm investing in a company for the dividend, obviously I care about the dividend, but I'm not investing in Disney for the dividend, right? I'm in it more for the growth, for streaming, for the parks, for the brand, right? The dividend is just a buy factor of all that. Let's just put it that way. So Disney at this point, it's breaking out. No doubt about it, holding the uptrend. I think eventually we could maybe see a push into the 130s, mid 130s, 140s. So Disney, I'm very excited about it. Trends looking solid, and I'm keeping it on the forefront of my watch list. So the next one here is DPZ. Finally broke 400. Had a decent earnings report. Went from 440 to 390. Held the trend overall in the 4-hour. And I told you guys, wait for the bottom out and the confirmation of the break. And we're finally getting that, right? We're breaking into the 400s, up almost 4% today. This is very good news. Very good signs, too, technically speaking. And if we find some sort of support, maybe we consolidate a bit at 400, I might take a position there. And another one, last one here, is going to be DKNG, guys, DraftKings. This is one that is seeing a bit of heat with the NFL, everything going on there, but we are seeing consolidation. We're seeing 2-3 days now of consolidation above $49.50. Today we were green green despite the markets being red. So let's see. This could be a turnaround play from the low 50s, maybe to the mid 50s, high 50s, maybe back to $60. So that's it for the video, guys. We talked about a bunch in this video. Apple and Workhorse were the main focus, and we talked about Johnson & Johnson, JP Morgan, Delta, Disney, Domino's Pizza, and DraftKings. So I'd love to know, what do you guys think about everything? Drop a comment down below. If you all enjoyed the video, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. That's so important. And join the Discord chat and Facebook group. And also follow me on Instagram at StockSurfS if you guys want daily updates, call outs, and to see just what I'm doing throughout the day. And if you guys want to message me, again, that is at StockSurfS on Instagram. And you might as well get 2 free stocks if you stayed till the end. Link down below. Just deposit $100 and you get your 2 free stocks. So I'll catch you all in the next video. Thanks for watching. As always, stay safe out there. Keep doing well in the markets. Peace out.